And time now to take a look at weather right across the country. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. You're watching the Weather Network. Thanks for being here with us. I want to start off into Ontario, where now this is day 2 of seeing that rain being funneled right up into Thunder Bay through northwestern Ontario. But the system now organizing itself a little better, and it's going to start to head in through southern Ontario. So this is it here. The warm front advances first. That's going to mean some cloud cover tonight in through the Greater Toronto area, light showers for southwestern Ontario, but then the bigger bulk of the rain starts to move through ahead into Wednesday. So places like Windsor, London, Godrich, the Huron Shores, you'll see the rain first, and then it will move into Toronto for Wednesday evening. Now, we could see some pretty heavy periods of rain. This is Gulf moisture that we're dealing with, and also some strong winds as well, especially with the cold front here. Winds coming out of the southwest on Thursday. It looks like a day where we could see wind gusts over 70 kilometers an hour, so another breezy one. Now, I want to talk about the Clipper that's forming right now in through Alberta. It's bringing in some snow in through Edmonton and Red Deer, light rain showers in through Calgary. It's warm enough for rain, but what's going to happen? Well, this Clipper is going to track across the prairies, and Environment Canada says winter is coming. Yeah, special weather statements are widespread with this one for strong winds and snow Wednesday and through Thursday. Throughout southern portions of the prairies, we could see about 10 to 15 centimeters of it. Now, as we look at the winds here, the winds coming out of the south right now, they will be switching after this low passes to a northerly wind, northwesterly. See that change there? And this is where winds can be very gusty, especially in through the prairies. We're talking wind gusts over 70 kilometers an hour. And what this is going to do, it's going to usher in that cool air. Stay with us. Have a look at that local forecast. It's not going to be warm in Regina, that's for sure. Now, along the BC coast, we still have the wind warnings, the rainfall warnings, snow throughout the interior, and also the Rockies, as well as this Pacific system still pushes through. Now, here's a look at your locals. Okay, off the top here, I want to mention this system along the BC south coast. The winds are picking up. Trees are down along the southern tip of Vancouver Island, and many people without power. Now, our special feature here on the Weather Network, it's just about to begin. We'll have a look now at day 2 of Students on Ice, the floating classroom. Imagine learning about climate change and seeing it right before your eyes. Have a look. Well, across the country today, you're either dealing with active weather or bracing for it. As we look ahead into Alberta here, the wind warnings are in place. We saw wind warnings yesterday, now a little more widespread, and that's with the downsloping winds, but also with the formation of this new Alberta Clipper. See the Clipper here? It's going to track across Alberta and into Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and active weather on the way. Winter is coming. Behind this, much cooler air will be in the forecast, as we will have those northwesterly strong winds. Special weather statements are in place for the strong winds and also for the snow. Now, snowfall warnings, they still remain in effect throughout the Rockies and BC's interior. The rainfall warnings for the lower Fraser Valley, Howe Sound and Chilliwack, and the wind warnings as well along Vancouver Island. These winds have already been damaging on Vancouver Island. We've heard of thousands without power due to trees down. Now, as we focus in on some more active weather, Ontario, you're not out of this one. No, we have Gulf moisture funneling up into the northwest. The warm front tonight moves through southwestern Ontario, and then the bigger bulk of the rain, that's coming into play for Wednesday. Places like London, Windsor, the Huron Shores, you'll see the rain first, and then the GTA into the evening. You'll be into the showers. Now, the showers, the snow ending for Newfoundland today, but a cooler day is on tap into tomorrow. High pressure in place, and it's funneling in, well, those cooler below seasonal conditions. Now, here's a look at your locals. Angry Planet with George Caroon is just about to begin, but let's talk weather here across the country. I want to focus in on a few of our systems, especially what's going on across the prairies. Well, we are going to see this Clipper pass through, and this is bringing in snow and strong winds. We've seen power outages along the BC south coast, southern tip of Vancouver Island, and now into the GTA. Well, this system is coming ever so close. The rain is going to start to move through Wednesday, starting off in the west, moving across to the east, and also very gusty conditions as well. In Atlantic Canada, finally a break from the active weather. Yeah, Michelle, you got that right. This is here a look at the Colorado low. So this is the Colorado low. This is the Alberta Clipper. These two coming together, and this is the next weather maker for our region. Thanks for tuning into the Weather Network. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. We're going to break down your forecast day by day here and focus in on what you can expect. This is a look into Friday. So this is after the system when we finally see a clear out here. The heavy rain will start in through Wednesday evening. It's going to be more of an overnight story, but the winds will be very strong into Thursday. So do keep that in mind. But one thing that you will notice here is, where is the heat gone? Yeah, much cooler conditions coming into play. And we are seeing a little bit of moisture that is right now making its way onto the Pacific, and it's going to make a beeline right for the Great Lakes region. And this here with the cold air, well, this is where we could see some mixing and even some lake enhanced snow. Well, look at this. Another tally on the chart here. Another above seasonal day for the GTA. Into this evening, 8 degrees. Feeling a little like 4 with the winds. Yeah, we saw some stronger winds today. You can see they're coming out of the east here, 20 kilometers an hour. And with a little bit of that lake breeze, it feels a little cooler in places like the city of Toronto. Now, as we focus in on this evening, widespread, you can see Sarnia at 13, Windsor at 14. So that's where the warmer air is. But 8 degrees for mid-November evening in Toronto, it's pretty good. We're still above seasonal with that one. Now, as we look ahead into Wednesday, above seasonal is really going to be the story with this. We're talking temperatures back into the teens, but it's coming with the price of active weather. We see the warm front advance. That's going to advance through the overnight tonight, and then the rain will start to push through. It's going to start off in Windsor, then move over to Toronto. So the city of Toronto could be seeing some heavy downpours by the time we look at Wednesday evening. This is a current look at the system right now. Thunder Bay is really into the rain, but for the most part, southern Ontario has stayed dry, and it will be mainly dry ahead into Wednesday as well, but that cloud cover is going to build throughout the day. You can see here, this is going to be the heaviest band of rain that moves through. This is some Gulf moisture associated with this as well, so we could see some heavy downpours at times. Now, the winds as well, they'll be quite strong. As we look ahead into Wednesday, you can see winds are coming right out of the south into the afternoon. We could see some gusts close to about 50 kilometers an hour into Thursday. That's actually when the winds will even increase to about 70. Now, here's a look at your locals. Blue sky. That blue sky is going to come to an end. We'll actually be warming back up into the teens and through southern Ontario ahead into Wednesday, but we'll also see that cloud cover continue to build. The warm front moves through tonight. Some spotty showers likely in through southwestern Ontario, but then the heavy rain is going to move through. Toronto, heavy rain for you Wednesday evening. Cloudy day. Now look at this. Dealing with the wind chill as well. Wednesday afternoon on the Avalon, 2 feels like -4 with those northerly winds. Now the rain continues here. Rainfall warnings in place for the Fraser Valley, Howe Sound and Chilliwack, an additional 40 millimeters of rain. And the winds have been so strong in through the BC South Coast in the interior. We, at last check, had about 68,000 people without power. Now, here's your local forecast. Raindrops. Yeah, the freezing levels actually rose to over 2,000 meters, but don't worry. Snow lovers, for the skiers, they will be dropping throughout this evening and then into Wednesday again. Of course, this is important because Whistler officially opens on Thursday. Now, with the snowfall warnings throughout the coastal mountains, they've dropped because we're seeing the rain, but the rainfall warnings, they are still in place for the lower Fraser Valley, Howe Sound and Chilliwack. You can see the heaviest rain here is east of Vancouver. Now look at this scene here, and the strongest winds will be throughout this evening and even the overnight as well. We're seeing this Alberta Clipper form. This is snow for Edmonton and Red Deer, light rain showers for Calgary. And as this system continues to track through, in behind it, it's pulling in air from the northwest. Northwesterly winds. This is going to be a much cooler air mass coming into play. Regina, by the end of this week, -5 is going to be your daytime high. Now, as we look at this low here, I want to mention the Alberta Clipper does have special weather statements in place for the snow and the wind in through Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Now watch these two systems. They are going to meet up and they're going to move through the Great Lakes region, and this is going to be the next weather maker. They phase together. The cold front is going to bring in some of the heaviest rain and the strongest winds. The winds in behind this in through southern Ontario, as we look ahead in through Thursday, we could see wind gusts exceeding 70 kilometers an hour. Now speaking of the winds, not coming out of the right direction here, that's for sure. That's why it's been so cool in the Avalon. Winds right out of the north. Gander has been into the snow as well, but thankfully those winds are really going to ease as we look ahead into Wednesday, down to about 20 kilometers an hour. So this here is Wednesday as we look ahead across the Atlantic. Let me show you. Now Wednesday, a look ahead right across the country. Winnipeg, you're still in that warm-ish sector. That's why you're at 5 degrees. Regina at 1 with the snow. All of that snow is going to move into Winnipeg overnight in through Thursday. Now stay with us here at the Weather Network. We've got more just ahead. Yeah, Deb, we can hear the winds howling behind you here, and I want to mention now these wind warnings have been extended in through Saskatchewan and even into Manitoba as well. This is all a Wednesday event for you. This is today through Alberta and then Wednesday throughout the prairies. And as we look at places like Saskatoon, Regina, Assiniboia, you're all in this wind warning, and these are for some gusts that could reach about 90 kilometers an hour. Now this year, this is the low. This is the Alberta Clipper that's going to bring in, well, let's say some fun weather across the prairies, some snow, some winds. It's not going to be very comfortable, let's say that. And look at behind the low. Look where the winds are coming out of. Strong northwesterly winds, and that's really going to bring your temperatures down. So yes, you are going to see snow with this one. Special weather statements are in place, and the winds are really going to be an issue with this system. Gusts to 90 kilometers an hour. It's not going to be comfortable at all, and especially with blowing snow, we could see reduced visibility out on the roads. Now this year, this is the system that's moving into Ontario. There is a lot of active weather to cover right across the country. So let's focus in on this. Tomorrow, the rain is going to move throughout Ontario here. We've already been seeing it in through Thunder Bay. You can see with that cooler air, snow comes into Thunder Bay. And then look at this guy here. Yeah, this is another low for the weekend and snow throughout southern Ontario. That's the potential. We are going to see a much cooler air mass come into play. Same thing across the prairies. Regina, -5 is going to be your daytime high. And that cool air will continue to filter further into the Great Lakes region. Toronto, we're not talking about daytime highs of -5, but how about +4? That's a far cry from the 14 that you will see tomorrow. So behind this mild air, it certainly is a lot cooler. Now here into Victoria, we'll also be seeing a cool down for Victoria and Vancouver into the single digits tomorrow, and the rain will finally ease off. We still have the wind warnings in place. Unfortunately, these winds have been damaging, and we have seen thousands of people without power throughout the BC South Coast. Well, there certainly is no lack of active weather right across the country, from the wind warnings and the power outages throughout the BC South Coast, wind warnings through Alberta, special weather statements in place across the prairies, this new system coming into Ontario, and that cold air and snow in through Newfoundland. I want to start off our weather story here with this clipper in through Alberta. This is what's bringing special weather statements in place across the prairie provinces, snow and wind and cold air to come. Now, when we see these very gusty conditions, the issue with this one, pairing that up with the snow, it could be quite treacherous out for commuters and low visibility out on the roads. Now let's take a look at temperatures here. When I say cold air, how's -6 feeling like -11 in Kindersley, or a wind chill of -13 in Regina? After this system passes, cold air comes into play. Speaking of the snow, we could see about 10 centimeters of snow across the southern prairies, so winter's certainly coming. Now Ontario here, 18 in Windsor. That doesn't seem very fair, right? A wind chill of -14, and then we're seeing +18 here, 14 degrees for Toronto. This is coming with a lot of cloud cover, though, and the rain, heavy rain at times, as Gulf moisture associated with this one. Starts off rain for southwestern Ontario Wednesday afternoon into Toronto by the time we look at the evening. Now, before we go here, Atlantic Canada into Wednesday, single-digit highs, but a much nicer day in terms of just clear conditions for the Avalon and Gander as well. Now, here's a look at weather in your backyard, your local forecast.